Good day, folks. It's October the 9th. Yes, October the 9th, and the year is 2025. Well, this is the continuation of yesterday's shorts that I uploaded. Uh, it's getting interesting. It's an extension, and some of it is from the same clip. But just watch this. Thank you.
When will somebody be about making things better? Okay? Now, again, if you believe that the AG was playing to an audience of one, man, the audience could not have been happy today because the President of the United States had to listen to the Attorney General refuse to answer a question that should have a very easy answer. That's what the President signed up for. Now, a more interesting question to me is, the family is forced to sign up when somebody decides to run for office. I know this. I lived it. And that's why I have always been very arm's length, even though they're adults, with Trump's family, because I know what it's like to be family of someone who's running and going through the crucible of politics, though I have never seen anybody deal with what Trump has, for better or for worse. So his son Eric now has a book out about this called Under Siege: My Family's Fight to Save Our Nation. I wanted to talk to him about his book and how he sees it, and he joins me now. Thank you for taking the opportunity.
It's good to be back on.
So, what motivated you to write this book? What do you want people to know?
Well, I want people to understand the true intention of the siege. I mean, I disagree with some of the things you said in the opening monologue, but listen, you were crucified as a family. This is where we'll agree. You were crucified as a family just as we were crucified as a family. My father went down that escalator, and they didn't wait 12 minutes. The Washington Post wrote an article 12 minutes later. This is when the impeachment of Donald Trump began. They impeached my father not just the first time, they impeached him the second time. They made up the dirty dossier. You covered it well for a very long time. You know the slanderous lies that they put in there. I was the guy getting the call from the FBI and everybody else saying, I hear you have secret servers in the basement of Trump Tower communicating with the Kremlin. You know, CNN, and you were part of it at the time, they were relentless in accusing us of literally Russia collusion, which was totally false. We had nothing to do with Russia. They weaponized every AG. They weaponized every single DA in the country. Letitia James, you know her very well because she went after your brother and she went after your entire family. Yeah, Alvin Bragg, Jack Smith, who was planting classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. They were raiding our houses. They were raiding Melania's room. They were raiding Barron's room. I became the most subpoenaed person in American history. I've never gotten so much as a traffic ticket because I happened to run the Trump organization and I didn't have the same congressional and executive branch protections that my father did. They took him off the ballot in Colorado. They took him off the ballot in Maine. They took us off of Twitter. They took us off of Facebook. They took us off of Instagram. I had 91 indictments, right? I mean, how many gag orders were there in that period of time? And then after all of that was done, they tried to kill him. They tried to kill him in Butler, Pennsylvania, and then they tried to kill him again at a golf course. And then you saw exactly what happened with Charlie Kirk last week, where I lost a good friend, somebody I'd been on that stage with 100 times. They put our family, they put my father, they put me under siege. They put this nation under siege with their garbage and their games. Also, they could get a couple extra votes, and it's wrong, and the nation needs to know that, and the people watching the show needs to know what these people did, because it's illegal, it's undemocratic, and it's the last thing that should ever happen to the United States of America.
Now, as you know, and as we've talked about before, I don't test a lot of what you guys say the same way because it's your father, okay? And I'm not saying that you're full of it. I'm just saying it's an impenetrable conflict. And I get it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I disagree with a lot of the things you say, but it's how we disagree that matters. Let me ask you something. Given everything you believe, why did the family want your father to run again after what had happened the first time?
Is they wanted to make our lives so miserable that we quit. And that's not who we are as a family. I believe in this country. I believe we live in the greatest nation in the world, right? It may be one thing that we can agree on. I believe in freedom of religion. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe that people shouldn't be gag ordered for voicing their opinions. I believe that people shouldn't be shot in the neck when they want to speak at college campuses. I believe in having a great economy. I believe in not having auto pen run all of the United States government. it was incompetence what was happening. And by the way, the entire Democratic media was perpetrating it. I mean, you questioned Joe Biden's cognitive abilities, and you would get crucified. You saw what Jake Tapper did to Laura Trump. You know, she said what everybody knew and everybody was saying, and he came out and crucified her like she was a dog for saying, you know, it seemed like he was lacking his cognitive abilities. You know, they have tried to kill us at every road, and honestly, the Democratic media has become the PR firm for the Democratic Party. But unfortunately, Chris, or fortunately, the American people aren't buying it anymore. They haven't, and that's honestly why the media has faded out. It's why independent voice in this country has become so powerful. It's why Joe Rogan's doing so well. And it's why we won so decisively. We won the popular vote. We won every swing state, every state in this nation. Tack to the right. We won places like Miami-Dade County by 11 points that had never been won by a Republican. I mean, literally, it's been 37 years since Miami-Dade has been won by a Republican. We won by 11 points. This nation gets it. They get exactly what these people were doing. And so we weren't going to back down. We weren't going to back down to the mob. We were going to fight, and we were going to win. That's just how we've always been bred.
Do you think that it is fair to say it looks like the administration is going after its political opponents now and doing exactly what you say you oppose?
What, Comey? Because I mean, it seemed very clear to me in the congressional testimony. I don't know, just watching it, I certainly seemed like he lied to me. I mean, I'm also wondering what an FBI director is doing, taking memos from the FBI and leaking them to the New York Times. I mean, Chris, I'm a guy that hopes that the FBI director would be keeping planes from flying into buildings, you know, keeping our country safe, keeping the Western way of life safe. Instead, this guy is, you know, communicating every single day with the New York Times. I mean, I'd hope a lot better, but I find it so ironic that you're literally one that's pushing back on the weaponization of government when the very same people that were coming after us, you know, went after your brother, you know, like hounds. I mean, they did everything they could to destroy his governorship. They did everything they could to destroy his life. They did everything they could to destroy you. I sat in that same seat. The only difference is my last name wasn't Cuomo. My last name was Trump. They were trying to destroy my father. And by doing that, they were trying to destroy me, and they were trying to destroy the Trump organization. They were trying to take all our assets and strip our name off of every building in New York City. You've been on the receiving end of the very same people that I've been on the receiving end of. And so to play coy with me as if this isn't happening in the United States of America just seems ironic and foolish given what you've been through more so than anybody.
Hold on a second. What did you just say that you think I'm doing? I'm asking you questions about whether or not if something is wrong, it is also wrong to do the same thing when you get back in power, which certainly happened the first time the administration came in. You went right after Biden, and I don't mean you weren't part of the administration. I'll get to you in a second in terms of what's going on right now. But if you think I'm playing coy, you don't know me as well as you should.
Chris,
I'm not playing
Chris,
coy. I know what happened to me,
Chris,
Eric. I'm saying
Chris,
that
and it was
what is
horrible
happening now looks like what was done to you. That's
corrupt Biden. Did they come after us? Did we weaponize every AG and DA, you know, against Biden? Did we do that against Hunter Biden, who had a laptop from hell, pictures of cocaine, illicit drug use, prostitution? You know, did we do that? Did we make up a dirty dossier about Biden? Did they try and destroy Biden's marriage? You know, was any of that true? I mean, did we make up stories that Biden had secret servers in the basement of his home communicating with the Kremlin in Russia? You know, did we strip Biden off the ballot of multiple states? Did we take Biden off of Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and try and silence his voice so he couldn't communicate? Did we put Biden in a courtroom every single day? 91 felony counts that have all been overturned for my father now, right? For nonsense, to try and keep him off of a campaign trail and to try and destroy his life. You know, did we do any of that? And the answer is no. I mean, if Comey lied and Republicans want to prosecute him, okay, then you know how many people they went after for perjury? You know, in my father's last cabinet, they went after everybody. Even if they didn't perjure themselves, they went after them for perjury.
Eric, I get the grievance, okay? I'm not saying that. Now, did you do those things? No, that's what was done to you. It doesn't mean that other things weren't done in retaliation or now to balance it out. I mean, today, what was happening with Jack Smith, I don't need that conversation. I don't need to go back. I need to get the Epstein files. I need to get the information. And I don't blame your father for this, by the way. Your father is not the problem on this one. It's the people around him who said things before and now say different things, and they're not doing what they promised to do. That's that issue for me. Why I'm asking you this, Eric, and I get why you're pissed off. It would be weird if you weren't. It's that when does anybody try to be better instead of just proving that the other side is worse every time they get into power. That's what I think drives the division. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I think that's a great argument, unless you go back to 2017, of course. I mean, my father could have thrown Hillary Clinton in jail. She deleted 33,000 emails, went under, congressional, subpoena, and she laughed about it. Oh, ha, 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 we're using BleachBit. I mean, my father thought it would be totally inappropriate to do that to the First Lady, a former First Lady of the United States, somebody that was Secretary of State. He wasn't given 12 minutes. Again, I go back to the Washington Post argument. This is when the impeachment of Donald Trump begins, 12 minutes after his hand came off the Bible on January 20th of 2017, and that's when the game started. Again, the whole Russia collusion narrative was made up, and I had to live with it for 3 years. I spent $400 million defending our company against something that was made up and paid for by Hillary Clinton, yet my father let all of it go. He didn't go after her. He didn't try. And you know what? They didn't go after him until he decided he wanted to run again, in which case they tried to imprison him, in which case they dragged him through every court in the country, whether it's Fulton County, whether it's in New York City, you know the cases very well, whether it's the Southern District of Florida, whether it's Washington, D.C., whether it was Robert Mueller, whether it was Jack Smith. I mean, Jack Smith claimed that he raided Mar-a-Lago because of NARA, National Archives. Does anybody actually believe you have 30 agents that raided Mar-a-Lago because of the National Archives, a glorified library? Chris, I was the guy that got the call from my team that day because they all worked for me at Mar-a-Lago saying, sir, there's 30 FBI agents here with a search warrant, right? And they're demanding that immediately you turn off all security cameras. Why did the FBI want all our security cameras gone at his home? Why? Can you answer that? Why did Jack Smith plant classified manila folders and take photo shoots on the floor of my father's office? Why? And that's what Under Siege talks about. That's the weaponization of government. And they weaponized it from Biden to Merrick Garland all the way down. They weaponized it against us, and they sure as hell weaponized it against you.
Well, look, again, it doesn't matter what happened to me. You're the story. Your family's the story.
It does. It's the same government. It matters because
I see it differently. I really
Chris,
do.
It matters because this is the United States of America, where our government should be working on behalf of the people. Not attacking political enemies because your brother was a governor and somebody else wanted to be a governor, or because you were the brother of a governor.
I just think it's not happening now either. I don't. Now, is it the same? Is it better? Is it worse? That's not what matters to me. I just have big concerns that nobody is trying to make it better. It's one thing for you to be pissed off. You're his son. I get it. My question for you is, you know what the climate is.
Yeah.
Why would you put yourself in a situation where you get involved with crypto and have the UAE as one of your big customers, and then they get AI clearance for chips from the U.S. government? You know how that's going to look. You know what's going to happen.
That can't be a serious question. I mean,
but
Chris,
Eric, why put your family in the position? That's all I'm asking. It's a legitimate question.
Chris, I got involved with crypto because I was deplatformed from every bank in the country. Capital One called me in the middle of the night and said, congratulations, we're shutting down 300 of your bank accounts. And so did JP Morgan Chase, and so did Make America. You know why? Because we wore a hat that said, make America great again. Because we happened to be Republicans and they didn't like it, we lost the ability to conduct business with a great company. These are golf courses, residential buildings. You know our assets. You've been to so many of them. I've seen you at so many of them. They tried to destroy our company. And you know what? Crypto was the only answer for us, right? We got into crypto, and then we realized how antiquated, the modern financial system was, how slow it was, how punitive it was, how they debanked half of the conservatives in this country. If they didn't like you, they debanked you. They froze your bank accounts for no reason whatsoever. It's illegal. It's undemocratic. It's un-American. That's how I found crypto. And you know when I found crypto? I found crypto when I was sitting in those cold courtrooms, sitting next to my father, right, with no other choices, when everybody else, including yourself, thought we had no chance of ever winning the White House again. That's when I found crypto. And then all of a sudden it becomes a big deal that I become a vocal advocate for an industry that can't be weaponized because it's on blockchain, that can't, discriminate people for a whole host of reasons, as modern day banks were doing to half of this nation. I had no other choice but to find crypto because the Biden administration was calling the big banks and saying, hey, you better not bank the Trump organization, because if you bank those golf courses, if you bank those great hotels, we're going to look unfavorably at you. That's exactly what was happening. That was all part of the weaponization. That's all part of how they put our family under siege.
I understand that, and it's noted, and the audience gets to hear it and process it. What I'm saying is, having the UAE come in that way and as big as they did as a customer, not an investor, but as a customer, with their relationship with the United States, you have to know it's going to raise conflict questions. You're a smart, sophisticated guy.
Chris,
that's what I'm asking. I get why you needed crypto as an investment strategy. I understand your answer. I'm asking something else.
It wasn't an investment strategy. It was honestly, we needed it for payment rails. I mean, investment strategy, sure, but we needed it as payment rails. I mean, I have 10,000 employees around the world that I couldn't pay because Capital One decided to be vindictive because my father was a Republican, right? Like I got forced into it. I would have never found crypto had it not been for the vindictive actions.
But aren't you worth more money now than ever before because of it?
I mean, crypto has been the fastest growing asset probably on the planet over the last 5-year period of time. And so, yes, in a certain way, they did us a great, I mean, I would have never found an industry that I've absolutely fallen in love with had it not been, I would have been still a hard asset guy. Now I'm a hard asset guy who believes in digital assets more so than anybody because, again, I understand how banks can be corrupted, as does all of America. I understand how punitive banks can be. I understand how slow it is. I mean, Chris, not to go into my business side of my life. I mean, we're talking about politics here, but I mean, every single week I'm waiting for a wire to come in at 5 o'clock. And if it doesn't come in by 5 o'clock, the SWIFT system, which is slow as hell, it's antiquated, it hasn't changed in 30 years, it's expensive. You're not getting, that payment, or I'm not being able to send out a payment. And I run a lot of big hotels and big properties. This is pertinent to my life. Until the following Monday. What kind of finance is that? Why isn't finance 24/7?
Listen, I'm not arguing about the system. Scaramucci talks to me about it all the time. I get it. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm just saying, given your sensitivity to people coming after you, and I'm not saying that you're wrong to be sensitive to it, right? Having the UAE come in that way, and then they get the AI chips, you had to know it was going to be a problem.
Do you really believe, I mean, knowing me as long as you have, do you think I have anything to do with Washington, D.C.? I mean, I stay as far the hell away from Washington, D.C. as humanly possible, right? And my father has nothing to do with our company. And you think I'm really tracking AI chips that are flowing to, where in the UAE? I mean, the UAE is one of the biggest crypto markets in the world, right? I mean, as is South America is becoming a big one. Asia is becoming a massive one. I mean, crypto is the fastest growing industry probably in the world. So you mean to tell me you're really trying to connect the dots between some chips that I would know absolutely nothing about, nor would I ever care about, to a crypto company started well before my father? You guys even gave him a chance of winning when we were in a. I mean, give me a break. It is. I never saw anybody making the great connection between Hunter Biden, who was selling finger paintings to foreign countries all over the world. He became a world-class artist overnight, right? As soon as his father became commander-in-chief. How about every single entity that he had? They had dozens and dozens of these shell companies, all interconnected.
I'm not comparing you to Hunter Biden.
Give me a break. I mean,
I'm not comparing you to Hunter Biden, but let's be honest. I mean, he did what is not unusual in politics, which is trade off his name, right? And he made like, what, $10, $11 million over a bunch of years. It was examined like crazy. And I thought it was way out of proportion compared to what is acceptable within Trump world. And I thought how he was treated as an addict was disgusting. But that's our politics. I'm not arguing that it's not bad. I'm arguing how it gets better.
If I had naked pictures of prostitution and illicit drugs and vendors and vendors in bathtubs, did illegal things about lying on gun forms, 44/7s. So you'd have no problem. So if I decided right now, Chris, I became a world-class artist, just as we're sitting here, I just became a world-class artist, and I decided to start selling my finger paintings to foreign nationals just to get the record straight. You're totally fine with that? Versus
no. I said that I'm okay with your life. I'm okay with your personal life.
You know our assets around the world.
No. That's not what I'm saying. Hold on. You're going too fast for me. I'm saying I don't care what happens in your personal life. I hope you're healthy. I hope your kids are okay. I'm saying whatever you do, you do. You decide to run for office. You're stupid enough to do that, then you're asking for the scrutiny. Whether it's fair or unfair, that's what you sign up for. I'm saying that Biden was dragged. And he was dragged because you guys were dragged. What I'm saying is, does this ever get better? Or do you think it's just circling to the bottom? This is what it's going to be forever.
He wasn't dragged. He wasn't dragged.
Come on.
One thousandth of the way we were dragged. Chris,
but it was both wrong. It was both wrong, Eric. That's what I'm saying.
The guy couldn't put together a coherent sentence.
He's an addict. He's an addict.
Well, I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about Joe. I mean, obviously,
he had trouble putting together sentences too. He's old though.
At Wayfair, we bring style to every.
Let's go to Hunter for a second. I mean, this is a guy who's marrying his deceased brother's wife. This is a guy who's taking illicit drugs in bathtubs with vendors.
I understand, Eric, but
and prostitution.
Who cares?
I mean, if you have no regard for the rule of law, as Democrats don't, right? You know, hence illegal immigration and everything else that they're fine with, then that's fine. I mean, I was always, you know, raised by a father who said, no drinking, no drugs, no smoking. You better get good grades. You know, don't have a laptop from hell. Don't have, you know, pictures of prostitution on your. You know, on your
I know, but Eric,
laptops. Give me a break. And
Eric,
the guy got the greatest pass in the history
Eric,
of the world.
You're making this a competition between you and Hunter Biden. That's not what I'm talking about. Here's what I'm talking about.
There is no competition in that
Eric,
regard. Zero
but I'm saying that shouldn't be the conversation. The conversation is, I understand why you're pissed about what you see your family having gone through. Okay? I get it. That's why I invited you on. What I want to know is, what do you think about the prospect of where we are headed? It does not seem to be getting any better. What we saw today with Bondi, it doesn't seem like it's getting better. It seems like it's getting worse, and I am worried about where it goes.
Can I spell out utopia? Because I'd love to. Right? Our family did not get into politics because it was going to make our life better. We certainly, I mean, I spent $400 million defending our company against garbage. I mean, it's cost us more money than you can possibly imagine. I've taken more arrows in my back than you could have ever imagined. I became the most subpoenaed person in American history for having never done anything wrong. I would love a country where we focused on the greatest American flag in the world, the red, white, and blue, our Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, First Amendment rights in this country, where we focused on having the greatest educational system in the world, where we had the strongest military, where we had peace on earth, where we had the lowest taxes, where we had the American dream, the white picket fence. That's what I want, right? That's what our family tried to do when we got in there. We went down the golden escalator, and we weren't given 12 minutes before they started the attacks against us. And now all of a sudden, I have friends like Charlie Kirk. And I sat on that stage with Charlie 100 times. I've known him since he was literally 21 years old. And I'm seeing blood gushing from the front of my friend's neck as people who called us fascists are sitting dressed up in black on rooftops, shooting across college kids' heads to take out somebody who had a loud voice who was exercising their First Amendment right. That's what's happening. The bullets aren't going the other way, Chris. The bullets are coming one way. They came at my father's head. They almost killed my father again. They killed Charlie Kirk. They killed, you know, I mean, they obviously, you know, what they wanted to do
Eric,
to Kavanaugh was, right?
I'm aware.
And then everybody, I get to listen to people on these networks, you know, you include in some of these questions saying, hey, why don't we take down the temperature? I'm the first one that wants to take down the temperature. I just want to have a prosperous nation, which is the only reason that we're in this fight.
No, Eric, hold on a second.
All while every single day.
I don't say take down the temperature.
We're dodging bullets.
But hold on,
you know,
literally bullets are being dodged. But hold on a second. First of all, I don't play any of these games, okay? I knew Charlie, not the way you did. We got along. We disagreed, but we disagreed with decency, okay? That's how I do it. I don't need to talk tough to be tough, okay? There is plenty of violence to go around on the political spectrum. I do not believe one side has ownership of it. I think it's irresponsible to say otherwise. I don't like getting pictures of your father's ear sent to me by people who don't believe he was shot at. As you know, I called him. Your father is not my biggest fan, but I called him immediately when that happened and said, I am so sorry for you and the family that your grandkids had to see this. Thank God you're okay. I don't even like to think what would have happened in this country if something else had happened. And I couldn't believe how you guys were able to come through it the way you did, frankly. I don't know what I would do. I would have taken my brother, if God forbid that were him, and you would have never seen him again because I'd be so afraid. That's who I am. I can still disagree with you, but I would never want anything bad to happen to you. And I don't see a comma in that. I don't see a but in that. And I don't see it with Charlie Kirk either. I don't care what his ideas were. As soon as it becomes violence, it should be un-American, and that should be the end of it. Talk about his ideas some other day. But that's not where we are, and that's my biggest concern. It's not take down the temperature. It's we're asking for worse, Eric. That's what I believe about us in this country right now. It's going to get worse. Hey, how about this? You know who they think killed Charlie Kirk now? People on the right side of the political spectrum? Israel.
Just what he said, Chris Cuomo. I don't know it was coming from his heart, sincerely meant, but I got to admit it was good. I generally don't like. He tries to play anyway. No personal criticism, and but what he just said, it was good.
America. You know, we are the greatest country anywhere in the world. I know this because I've traveled to the vast majority of them. We are so fortunate to be Americans. We should have the safest streets. We should have the most prosperous economy. We should have the best society. We have the best way of life. We should have a legal system that cannot be corrupted by the Letitia James who want to go after political enemies, both in our cases, Republican and Democrat. We should not have that in America. We should have the greatest system of law. We should have fairness. We should have a constitution. We should have a government that actually works for the people.
That'd
And
be nice.
unfortunately, we don't because of the madness. And you know, respectfully to the comment, you know, about seeing violence go both ways. Man, I've sat behind this chair for a long time in the political world, right? I mean, you know, close to 15 years, and I've seen the disproportionate amount of violence targeting Republicans. I can't tell you how many letters I've personally opened up in my kitchen, nor can I tell you how many letters Laura has, and I know you love my wife, has opened up only to see white powder come flying out of them, right?
Listen, Eric, I'm with you. I live the same reality. I live the same reality. This is what our family signed us up for when we got involved in public service. This is what it has become, and it's regrettable and it's frightening, especially when you have kids. That's why I invited you on to talk about it. Just because we don't agree on all the particulars and what the problems are and even to do about them. I never want to see anything bad happen to you or anybody in your family. God forbid.
Well, it seems like people are voting with their pocketbooks because, you know, Under Siege just went to #1 on Amazon. You know, it's #1 in virtually every single category. It's doing incredibly well. And listen, I'm proud of it, Chris. Honestly, as a family, it's a story that had to be told, and it had to do so with unvarnished honesty and you know, in a very direct way that will probably ruffle feathers.
I think you made one mistake. In the picture on the cover, you are clearly taller than your father. He's not going to like it.
Oh, he's not gonna like that.
And now you got trouble. All right,
hey, Chris, I love you, man. You and I will probably agree on one thing. He probably won't like that one. So,
listen, I wish you well. We do not have to agree to be decent to one another. I'm always a call away. Thank you very much for taking the opportunity.
Well, first of all, Eric Trump, you did so well. I didn't know that you could be so vociferous, and more than that, you have a great presence of mind. And it was in the past, I don't know if others saw it, I didn't see it, but now I'm seeing it. And good luck with your book. And the way you spoke, it's, you know, your thoughts came out so, you know, it's not even your father. He's very natural, and he doesn't try to be a phony. But he would wander off. But you stayed focused, and I'm not only surprised, I admire you. And good luck with your book, and all the very best to you. Thank you.